Big Boy is the popular name of the American Locomotive Company 4000 Class 4-8-8-4 articulated, coal-fired, steam locomotives manufactured between 1941 and 1944 and operated by the Union Pacific Railroad until 1959. The Big Boy fleet of 25 locomotives were used primarily in the Wyoming Division to haul freight over the Wasatch Mountains between Green River, Wyoming and Ogden, Utah. They were the only locomotives to use a 4-8-8 four-wheel arrangement consisting of a four-wheel leading truck for stability entering curves, 2 sets of 8 driving wheels and a four-wheel trailing truck to support the large firebox. According to Union Pacific's senior manager of Heritage Operations Ed Dickens Jr., the 4-8-8-4 series originally was to have been called Wasatch. One day while one of the engines was being built, an unknown worker scrawled Big Boy in chalk on its front. With that, the legendary name was born and has stuck ever since. Design. Union Pacific introduced the Challenger-type locomotives in 1936 on its main line over the Wasatch Range between Green River, Wyoming and Ogden, Utah. For most of the route, the maximum grade is 0.82% in either direction, but the climb eastward from Ogden, Utah into the Wasatch Range reached 1.14%. Hauling a 3,600 short-ton freight train demanded double heading and helper operations, and adding and removing helper engines slowed operations. To eliminate the need for double heading and helper operations, Union Pacific decided to design a new locomotive. For such a locomotive to be worthwhile, it would have to be faster and more powerful than slower locomotives like earlier compound 2-8-8-0s that UP tried after World War I. To avoid locomotive changes, the new class would need to pull long trains at a sustained speed of 60 miles per hour once past mountain grades. In fact, it was designed so that it could travel smoothly and safely at 80 miles per hour even though it was not intended to be used that fast. Led by mechanic Otto Jaberman, the Union Pacific Railroad's design team worked with the American Locomotive Company to re-examine their Challenger locomotives. The team found that Union Pacific's goals could be achieved by enlarging its firebox to approximately 235 by 96 inches, lengthening the boiler, adding 4 driving wheels and reducing the size of the driving wheels from 69 to 68 in on a new engine. The Big Boys are articulated, like the Mallet locomotive design. They were built with a wide margin of reliability and safety, and normally operated well below 60 miles per hour in freight service. Peak horsepower was reached at about 35 miles per hour. Optimal tractive effort, at about 10 miles per hour. Without the tender, the Big Boy has the longest engine body of any reciprocating steam locomotive. Manufacturing. The American Locomotive Company manufactured 25 Big Boy locomotives for Union Pacific. 2 groups of 10 in 1941 and 1 group of 5 in 1944. Operation. The Big Boy locomotives had large grates to burn the low-quality bituminous coal sourced from Union Pacific-owned mines in Wyoming. As an experiment, Locomotive 4005 was converted to burn oil. Unlike a similar effort with the Challengers, it failed due to uneven heating in the Big Boy large, single-burner firebox. Post-war increases in the price of both coal and labor and the efficiency of diesel-electric motive power foretold a limited life for the Big Boys, but they were among the last steam locomotives taken out of service. Towards the end of their career, the Big Boys could still pull more than their rated tonnage of 6,573 short tons. The Big Boys' ratings were increased several times until they regularly pulled 8,727 short tons over the Wasatch Range. The last revenue train hauled by a Big Boy ended its run early in the morning on July 21, 1959. Most were stored operational until 1961 and 4 remained in operational condition at Green River, Wyoming until 1962. Their duties were assumed by diesel locomotives and gas turbine electric locomotives. Incident On April 27, 1953, Locomotive 4005 was pulling a freight train through southern Wyoming and jumped the switch track at 50 miles per hour, throwing the engine onto its left side and derailing its tender and the first 18 freight cars of the 62-car train. The engineer and fireman were killed instantly on impact, while the brakeman would die in a hospital a few days later from his severe burns. The cab of the locomotive was destroyed by the tender, and the loads from the 18 derailed cars were scattered near the site of the accident. After this incident, 4005 was repaired by Union Pacific at its Cheyenne facility. Preservation: of the 25 big boy locomotives manufactured, 8 remain. 7 of the 8 surviving big boys are on static display. 1, number 4014, is undergoing a restoration for excursion service, which includes conversion to number 5 oil firing. 5 are displayed outdoors without protection from the elements. 4005 and 4017 are displayed indoors. The remaining big boy locomotives are located throughout the United States: 4004 Holiday Park, Cheyenne, Wyoming 41A°08 Euro squared 12.30 Euro cubed N104A° 47 Euro squared 59.4 Euro cubed W, 4005, Forney Transportation Museum, Denver, Colorado 39A° 46 Euro squared 37.38 Euro cubed N104A° 58 Euro squared 13.8 Euro cubed W. The Forney Transportation Museum in Denver moved 4005 to a renovated building in January 2001. 4006, Museum of Transportation, St. Louis, Missouri 38A° 34 Euro squared 19.73 Euro cubed N090A° 27 Euro squared 40.0 Euro cubed W, 4012, Steamtown National Historic Site, Scranton, Pennsylvania 41A° 24 Euro squared 26.96 Euro cubed N075A° 40 Euro squared 10.8 Euro cubed W. A Euro built in November 1941, Union Pacific retired 4012. In 1962, 4012 was on display at Steamtown, USA in Bellows Falls, Vermont until 1984 when it was moved to Scranton, Pennsylvania. 4012 is displayed outdoors since the Steamtown turntable and roundhouse are inadequate for 4012 size. The Steamtown SHS recommended that due to its good condition, number 4012 could be feasibly restored to working order, but only after determining if surrounding track, switches, culverts, trestles, bridges, Ys, turntables and other facilities could bear her great weight. 4014, Union Pacific Railroad, Cheyenne, Wyoming 34A°05 Euro squared 0.456 Euro cubed N117A° 46 Euro squared 11.38 Euro cubed W, reacquired by Union Pacific in 2013 and moved from its static display in Fairplex Rail Giants Museum in Pomona, California to be restored to full steam operation and operated in excursion service. 4017, National Railroad Museum, Green Bay, Wisconsin 44A° 29 Euro squared 02.70 Euro cubed N088A° 02 Euro squared 55.1 Euro cubed W. Number 4017 now resides in a climate-controlled shed. 4018, Museum of the American Railroad, Frisco, Texas 33.144513 N96.833444 W/33.144513. -96.833444 I-4018 was relocated by rail to a new location north of Dallas and Frisco, Texas on August 25, 2013. 4023, Kinnifick Park, Omaha, Nebraska 41A° 13 Euro squared 55.7 Euro cubed N095A° 55 Euro squared 4.1 Euro cubed W. Number 4023 is the only known big boy to move by highway since preservation, to Kinnifick Park in Omaha. Notes. References. Citations References Peck, C.B. Coombs, C.L. A.L. eds. 1950-52 Locomotive Cyclopedia of American Practice. New York, Simmons Boardman Publishing. The Scene B009AFOVKU. External links: the UP 4014 Project YouTube playlist videos charting the progress of the restoration of 4014 Union Pacific Big Boys, Big Boy main page, 1.